I celebrate myself and sing myself, and when I assume, you shall assume. For every atom belonging to me, as good belongs to you. I wish I partied a little less. People always say, be true to yourself. That's misleading, because there are two selves. There's your short-term self, and there's your long-term self. And if you're only true to your short-term self, then your long-term self slowly decays. I have a master's in history, a master's in anthropology, and a PhD in education. What would you say would have been your greatest accomplishment? My personality. Who are you? If I asked you to give me 5 words to explain our identity, what would they be? What's in a name? Shakespeare would have us believe that they mean little. Another factor in forming our identities is our race and the ways perceived by others. Sadly, we're often judged or treated differently based on our skin tone, culture, heritage, or abilities. We can allow ourselves to be made less by that judgment or to be made more by where we come from. And yes, even a name can shape an identity. We will look at identity through prose. Humans in New York, Dangerous by Shannon Hale, Names Nomads by Julia Alvarez, and poetry, Song of Myself by Walt Whitman, Who I Am by Hunter Easton Harris, Give Your Daughters Difficult Names by Asato Sengo, and Remember by Joy Harjo. This is Who I Am, a program about the things that shape us, form us, and make us who we are. When we arrived in New York City, our names changed almost immediately. At immigration, the officer called my father Mr. Urberus. If he had anything to declare. My father shook his head no, and we were waved through. I was too afraid we wouldn't be let in if I corrected the man's punctuation. But I said her name to myself, opening my mouth wide for the organ blast of ah, chilling my tongue for the general of the R, Alvarez. How could anyone get Alvarez out of that orchestra of sound? At the hotel, my mother was Mrs. Alvarez, and I was little girl, as in, hey little girl, stop riding the elevator up and down, it's not a toy. We moved into our new apartment building. The supper called my father Mr. Alvarez, and the neighbors, who became mother's friends, pronounced her name as Julia instead of Julia. Her namesake, was known as Julita at home, but at school, I was Judy or Judith, and once an English teacher mistook me for Juliet. It took me a while to get used to my new names. I wondered if I shouldn't correct my teachers and new friends, but my mother argued that it didn't matter. Yes, that's my real middle name. My parents were going to name me after my deceased grandmothers, Macy Amelia. Then, in the hospital, occurred to them that the middle name Danger would be funny. Literally, Danger is my middle name. I avoid it. It's too ridiculous. It's not like anyone actually calls me Danger. Well, sometimes my mom calls me La Peligrosa, which is Spanish for Danger Girl. But it's a joke. Or it's meant to be? My parents have to work really hard to be funny. They're scientists. Many of my contemporaries, role models, but especially ancestors, have a name that brings the tongue to worship. Names that feel like ritual in your mouth. I don't want a name said without pause, muttered without intention. I am through with names that leave me unmoved, names that leave the speaker's mouth unscathed. Remember the sky that you're born under? Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon? Know who she is? Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away tonight? If I live to be 100 and never see the 7 wonders, that'll be alright. If I don't make it to the big leagues, if I never win a Grammy, I'm gonna be just fine, because I know exactly who I am. So when I make a big mistake, and when I fall flat on my face, I know I'll be alright. By the time I was in high school, I was a popular kid, and I showed him my names. Friends called me Jules or Hey Jude, and once a group of troublemaking friends my mother forbade me to hang out with called me Alclides. I was Julita, only to mommy and papi and uncles and aunts who came over to eat sancocho on Sunday afternoons. Old world folk whom I would just as soon go back to where they came from and leave me to pursue whatever mischief I wanted to here in America. Judy Alclides. The name on the wanted poster would read, who would ever trace her to me? I want a name like fire, like rebellion, like my hand gripping Masa's whip. I want a name before the ships. I want a name that catches you in the throat if you say it wrong. And if you're afraid to say it wrong, then I guess you should be. I want a name only the brave can say. A name that only fits in the mouth of those who love me right. Because only the brave loves me right. Should my tender heart be broken, I will cry those teardrops knowing I will be just fine. Because nothing changes who I am. I am saint and I am sinner. I'm a loser and I'm a winner. I am steady and unstable. I am young, but I am able. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life, and her mother's and hers. Remember your father? He is your life also. Remember the earth, whose skin you are, red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. I hate explaining my name to people, their eyes peering over my journal, looking for a history they can rewrite. Ask me what my name means. What does your name mean, Linda? Not every word needs an English equivalent in order to have significance. I am done folding myself up to fit your stereotype. Your black friend, your headline, your African queen meme, your heart feelings, your desire to learn the rhetoric of solidarity without the practice. I do not have time to carry your allyship. Remember the plants, trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too? Talk to them. Listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind? Remember her voice? She knows the origin of this universe. Remember, you are all people, and all people are you. I am trying to build a continent, a country, a home. Remember, you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember, all is emotion, is growing, is you. Remember, language comes from this. Remember, the dance language is, that life is. Remember, I am Rosemary's granddaughter, the spitting image of my father, and when the day is done, my mama's still my biggest fan. Sometimes I'm clueless, and sometimes I'm clumsy, but I've got friends that love me, and they know where I stand. It's all a part of me, and that's who I am.